Good afternoon. We got a world champion with us today. That was a big thing to say.
Yeah.
I am really excited to bring my friend Shawn-Ledig over here because he has been traveling the world. I'm a little jealous, actually, of all your traveling. I've got to say, man, you've been to some killer places.
Absolutely.
And just coming off of I'd say the biggest title yet of your career, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. This one was one. I've been chasing it for about 4 years.
Yeah.
And first year I got silver as a blue belt. And last year I thought I would do pretty well.
I thought you were going to get it last year.
I did too. Everything was good. No injuries. I say no injuries. I kind of had that little meniscus issue, but that first match of the tournament, my meniscus popped.
Yeah.
And I was just out. So even if I had won that quarterfinal, I had a bye. So I even had a bye to get into the quarters. If I'd have just had that semifinals match, I would have been on the podium, but I couldn't go. Even if I'd have won by points, then I finished the matchup.
Yeah.
It was rough. I almost came back and got on some points. So I think I lost by 2 points, but my knee was just shot. And I even told everybody, I said, had I even gone forward, I would just had to tap out the semifinals. But spent a few days in Rio on the beach trying to make it better.
I mean, if you're gonna being in Brazil, I guess there's worse places you could be, right?
Absolutely.
I joke, I remember I went to my first big in my older years. I went to but it wasn't Masters. It was Junior Nationals in Miami Beach for bodybuilding, and so I'm in the best shape of my life. And it was the first time in my career I didn't make the top 5. And if you don't make the top 5, you don't go to the night show, you don't pose, you don't do anything. Like, you go to judging and then you go home.
Yeah.
And so I remember the one silver lining. I go, well, fuck it, I'm not eating good all weekend. Let's go to the beach.
Let's go to the beach.
I look really good for the beach. Right. I might not have looked top 5 for the Nationals, but had the best body on the beach and I had the best time. It was funny.
That's being in the middle of Iowa, being out in Iowa or something where at least you got the beach to go to.
Yeah. So that made the best of a bad situation, and but it motivates you to train harder when you get back.
It was. I took off. When I got back, I got my knees checked out. It swelled up. I had that anaconda brace on there, the whole time.
I got a pair of those.
I said, look, they had get me. We had bought some of those, and I should have wore it for the tournament. Had that happened, I probably would have not. But hindsight. So when I got back, I had actually reached out. Derek Bonner from Reset ECS. He had reached out to me about the injury, and he said, I want you to try some of our products. It's the cannabinoid salve.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I did. I used that. The doctor told me, he said, you don't have a complete tear. He said, so this is up to you. He said, this is going to heal itself in a sense. He said, do you want to have the surgery? Do you want to go back? We did the MRI and everything. I said, you know what? Let's not do any more surgeries for now. I had the tricep, the shoulder injury that we had to have surgery on. So I said, so what I did is I talked to Barry. And I met him through the hemp business, hemp business, and he's in North Texas in Denton. And so he gave me all the information on it. I read up on it. It's a good product. It's got several cannabinoids in there. It's all natural.
Yeah.
And then the beeswax salve, and so I used that. And I noticed the inflammation had gone down tremendously. And then everything that we had talked about, and each week me and him would talk about it. I was like, this is what's going on. And he said, good. And, he's from the UK, so he's got that British accent. So him and I were talking, and he was like, how you feeling, Nate? So everything's great. And about 10 weeks in, I said, I think I'm ready to start training again. He said, well, you want to push it? And I said, I do. It's just me. Of course. So I got my brace on. And the first week back, me and Eric Proposer were talking about this. He was like, how you feel? I was like, sore. No, I had coached and I had done some stuff. I was going into class still twice a week. Yeah. I would drill with everybody, and then I would sit back, and then I would walk through everybody while they were doing their live rounds. And 10 weeks in, the doctor told me 16, and I went back to the doctor, and he was like, man, he said, I'm impressed. He said, give it, and he asked, he said, give it 2 more weeks. I said, so 2 more weeks I took off of the same thing, and 12 weeks back in, I went in, and then he double checked it. He said, you're good. And so I put it this way, I gave credit where credit's due. And I thought I liked the product so much that I went in and invested in the company.
Did you really?
I know Barry Barry's actually a hemp grower in North Texas and North Dallas.
Okay.
Like north of Dallas and towards that Denton area. And so that's how I met him. So it's just so funny how the world works. I'm actually redoing a house in the French Quarter one day through the Rue Carré, and then I had to call up the guy that is a historic house.
Oh, yeah, it's hard to get permitting and stuff.
And so the flooring is him and his Steve and they're toilet had leaked into the floor in this house, and that wooden floor was damaged.
That's a 6-figure floor,
big time. So like that was so actually the headmaster of the owner of the bottom unit was actually the headmaster of St. Olive.
Okay.
So him and I were talking, and I told him exactly what we had to do, and so I had to go find an antique wooden place actually, and I had some leads from people that have worked on the house before. And we were able to salvage some of the wood. They were able to plane some of it down and use some, because it's all it's all wood. And then we got some in, the Luke Array sound off on it, all right. Great. So we did that, but then I'm dropping off some soil samples to LSU one day. I came to Baton Rouge.
And that leads you to the guy that does the cannibal.
Yeah, and Stephen and them, I'm on the phone with him because I'm asking him about the damage in his insurance.
Yeah.
And he goes, I said, hey, look, buddy, I said, I'm going to drop off some soil samples to LSU real quick. Can you give me a second? And he just off the bat, he goes, you're a farmer? I said, I am. In a way, I said, let me call you back. When I got in the car, I said, what do you grow? I said, hemp. And he just really excited me.
Yeah.
And so he and Barry, they called me up the next week, and they were like, hey, we grow X amount of acres, and they've been exponentially growing through one of my partners, Panda Biotech. That's who we grow with. That's one of our buyers.
Yeah.
Cannavision is actually a processing facility that we do now have stocking in Louisiana. So that business is catching on, and the hemp business is growing.
And that product has helped you with joints, healing.
Yeah, I use it all the time.
Your maintenance, kind of preventative maintenance on your body.
Anything that's sore, anything that hurts. There's we have a Ganaf, an oil, a seed oil, hemp seed oil, and then we have the beeswax with the 7 or 8 different cannabinoids in it.
Yeah.
And your body produces it naturally, but it just expedites the healing process. It's really, there's a lot of science behind it.
Yeah, Barry was kind of filling me in on the cannabinoid system. He's like, how much do you know? I said, minimal. I'd love to learn more. And so I'm going to go into like a kind of a private little coaching with him.
That's good. Yeah, I had to do the same thing because just to know what I was getting into. But there's no THC in it.
Right.
So that's another big thing.
Yeah, you won't fail.
I get a bunch of firefighters
testing or anything like that.
All the time. So I always tell people that. Now, they do have some tests, which I have had to tell, like a firefighter one time, because he told me that they test for cannabinoids, which I had to take his word for. I said, well, you're going to fail it. That's the case. There is no THC, THCA,
right?
Any of that stuff in here. I said, it's all natural.
Yeah.
So I gave him the information. He gave it to his fire chief, and his fire chief said, well, you can bring this up and this up. That's the only issue I think we've ever had. Was always saying that they failed a test. And I was like, but no, it's a great product. I highly recommend it. I hope you guys, when you get it, I've actually got everything processed for Louisiana through the cannabis division here in Baton Rouge. So we've got all the paperwork in. We've got people using it in state, but I just can't sell it over the counter.
Yeah, so, in bulk or anything.
Yeah, so we do have Jenny. She's she's got a spa in Mandeville. And she actually uses it. She look at the can of oils, and her client says that they love it. Really? So for those deep tissues. Yeah. She uses the oil. I mean, I've got some ladies in New Orleans that tell me they put the oil on their face at night. I'm like, because it is hemp seed oil. Yeah. It just has the extra cannabinoids in there. I was like, more power to you.
Yeah, I got a massage therapist. He's one of our clients, and he's one of our massage therapists that we go to. Yeah. I might have to, when you get some, over here,
we'll
get some.
We'll send
him to try.
We'll send you a big bottle of oil, so that way he can use it on clients and see how
try it out.
Try it out. Absolutely.
So let's talk about that. Let's go back a year. Like you said, got close.
Yeah. Yeah.
Silver, close when you were blue belt, and I mean you've traveled all over the world.
Yeah.
My son, we went through this year. He took silver in the state finals this year for folk style. He did just win double gold in Greco and freestyle.
Saw that.
Yeah. So he got a little taste of, he got
taste of the honey.
Oh yeah. So he's 2 out of 3 on his journey this year. But boy, I mean it hurt. Coming in second stings. How did that motivate you, or how did you feel? And then, what was your work ethic like after that?
It was even worse because I was actually winning in the finals against, Alliance. Alliance is probably one of the strongest competition teams in the world. Okay. And I knew this guy. I know all my competitors, the people that I know that I'm going to actually go against, and it was a stacked division, even though it was blue belt division. And I was actually winning the match. I actually pulled guard, got him in, got the sweep. got 2 sweeps on him. I actually got it, and I was actually coming up. I was up by 6 points with 2 minutes left, not even. And he had me in guard, and I was passing guard, and I leaned over, and a sucker pulled a loop choke on like that. Now, could I get out of it today? Absolutely. But he had it in deep, and I was like trying to push him in, push his elbows in, trying to turn and gator roll on him. And he was my size. He was a good 6 foot. He might have been taller than me, 6'6". He's got to be 220, 225 because they're super heavy.
Yeah.
And so I had him tagged. And I mean, when I tell you that stung. But look, me as a competitor, I give everybody their due. And I told him it was an amazing match. His coaches were awesome. They're like, dude, we've been waiting on you for 2 months. I was like, hey.
Yeah.
I said, it was beautiful. And then that stung. And that made me start to like really process for. Like you said, I won the Europeans in Italy, so I've been to Rome. I got to Rome. I went to France.
That's one of my bucket lists. Rome is a bucket list.
It was
vacation too.
It was. The family came with me, so we're making that family thing. But I got to see the Colosseum. Got to see all the architectural, all the structural things that I would want to see as an engineer.
Yeah.
And then in France, I got double bronze that year at the Europeans. This last year, as my first purple belt, I skipped 1 year, and then my first purple belt tournament was the Europeans in Portugal, which was an amazing tournament and trip. And I ended up losing in the first round, but it was still like the guy from Brazil, him and his wife, she's a black belt. He owns a gym. He's a brown belt now, I think. But he won the turn. He won ultra, and then he ended up getting second. So, and he's top 3 in the world. So what that did for me is I didn't go complain. I said,
you knew where you were.
That was my litmus test right there.
Yeah,
because it's a big difference in a jump. But ever since then, I didn't win any majors last year. I went to 2. But I did win all the opens, and I went to say 3 or 4.
Right.
The New Orleans, or just the average, the ones like Houston, San Antonio, things like that. And then this year, when I said I signed up for Brazil, I was like, it's on. I didn't go to Europe. I didn't go to the Europeans. I sat out of pans because Stella had seen the prom.
Right.
I was all signed up, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I missed out on pans, but I told myself, I said, come hell or high water, I'm winning this. And I told my wife, I said, I'm winning double gold. She's like, you can do it.
Oh, yeah.
So winning was one thing, but winning the absolute division from like an American doing it,
right?
Dude, it's quite a feat. So I know this Doc. I think he was with Nova BJJ. He had won the Brasileiros as a blue belt. That's a long time, but he's been a black belt for many years now. From what I understand, and I reached out to the IBJJF and the CBJJ.
Yeah.
No other Louisiana native has won that since. That no one has ever won the double roll.
That's awesome.
So I was like, man. And I only know a few Americans. Ashley, I trained with him at Cyborg's gym at Fight Sports. He's actually trained with me a lot. Heading up to this because he's done it. He was a brown, a purple, I think blue and purple and won it, and he went double gold. He's one of the. I mean, he's awesome. He's one of those guys in Miami. He's a very good competitor. So he was telling me what to expect and how to kind of get over it with my, head-wise, my mental aspect of it. So it was good to train with him, Eduardo, another guy, trained with that.
Yeah, that's true. Because when you're going there, I mean, Brazil. Even though, if you really know your history, jiu-jitsu comes from Japan,
right?
But Brazil claims it as their. I mean, like it's become Brazil's claim to fame in the martial arts world for sure.
Absolutely.
And I could see kind of like I think when you said I'm thinking like Frank Dukes in Bloodsport. Remember the Van Damme?
Yeah.
They're like looking at you funny, like come in, you're the American coming in.
It was a wild thing. It's like, well, this one was even tough because I didn't know what day I was going to compete. I actually thought I was slated to compete on Friday, just the way that the pre-schedule was. So what I did is I got my flight out Tuesday and get there Wednesday. Yeah. I get to the New Orleans airport. This is how my whole trip starts. My wife's dog, her Labradoodle was kind of sick. She's 10 years old. I was taking care of that morning. She just wasn't feeling well. I said, we're taking her to the vet. I go to the airport for a 3 o'clock flight. So I left at around 1 o'clock. I get there. My flight is delayed. I said, look, I've got to be there for 7 to catch the connection to Brazil, to Sao Paulo. They're like, if you won't make it, let's get you on the one before that. I said, okay. We get to that one. All of a sudden, they tell me that one's delayed. And I'm like, so will I make it on the 7th? They said, there's no way. So we're having to deal with that. My son at 3 o'clock calls me crying. He's like, Simone's dead. He just walked in from school. I'm like, oh, jeez. So that's how this whole trip.
That's a good way to get your mental right.
I was like, what is going on here? I said, buddy. So me and I talked to him. Angelique finally walked in, and she kind of, I handed it off to her. And then I'm dealing with Delta here. I was like, I've got to get there. I said, I've got to get there at least the day before, just because I said I can't fly in at 5 o'clock in the morning and go for a match at 3:30.
Yeah, you want
So
to hydrate, you want to eat well.
Absolutely. I go to the saunas. I make sure I'm stretched out and do everything I can.
Yeah.
Well, I get to. They said, let's just get.
Were you having a cut for this, or you're not
I
cut?
said, I was a small ultra again.
Yeah, that's true.
I got in. I weighed in. When I got in there, I weighed in at 335 on my gi on. So I'm a whole 230. Which was just what I'm doing is I'm focusing on worlds in Vegas because I'll get down with super, but I'm not making the
Super's 225,
222, 222 and below. And so that's what the gi on.
That's what the gi on. So you really got to be like 218.
218 is a sweet spot, and we got those new black Rhino gis. That's one of our sponsors that reposes.
Yeah.
And so I even got a belt that like weighs like a paper clip. So we got all this stuff. So I'm ready. So I get there, and I knew this would be the case. But the guy in the ultra division, he's all at 270. You know what I mean? He's shorter than me, but I mean he's a big guy.
Friggin' bull.
And, but on my way there, it took 25 hours to get to Brazil because they had to bring me that night. I went to go to Atlanta. I go to the help desk, and the lady was like, we can get you. He said, they've got you rescheduled for tomorrow at 10. I said, I can't leave tomorrow. I said, I need a day to recoup there. So she goes, I got you, baby. So the black lady, she goes, I'm going to get you to Peru tonight. I was like, Peru? She's like, you're leaving for Lima at 10 o'clock. She's like, all the way. She goes, go to gate T something. So, man, I had to go all the way to the other side. It's Atlanta, so I took the train, went as far as I could. I get to there, and then I'm like, it was Latin, that Latin American, like, Delta's partnership. So I was like, hey, look, I was in business select. I got a little room, and she was like, we only have this seat for you. I was like, oh my God. So
your knees are killing you by the time you get
me the best seat they could.
My knees hurt on a plane, so I know your knees hurt.
And she was looking at me. She's like, I'm so sorry, sir. It's like, it's okay. So I get to Peru at 5 in the morning. I did some shopping. I got everybody some little thing. I've never been to Peru, even if it's just the airport. I started picking up snow globes. I get those for the kids for everywhere. I've always tried.
Like a keychains for Asher. That's funny.
So he puts them up there. All the kids have them. Even whenever it was just me doing business and in the States. And then I got Angelique some chocolates, and I got her some other little things. And I was like, okay. So then I flew out at 9 o'clock in the morning. Got to Brazil with the time change. It's 5 o'clock there. So I get there 5 in the afternoon, which is still better than getting there 5 in the morning. Sure. I got to Sao Paulo. Actually, this time getting into customs, since I've done that so many times, was pretty easy. And then I get there, like, what are you here for? I was like, JIU-JITSU. They're all like,
oh, come with you.
Yeah, so we walked in. I had a car already ready for me, so I ate a piece of Brazilian pizza, which I was waiting on.
They got good pizza there?
Dude, it's awesome.
No shit.
Yeah, so Eric proposed it and turned the whole team onto it, but it's different. The crust is different. It's got a little different layer of cheeses, and it's just the meats are shredded. They're different. Yeah. But it's a Brazilian pizza, so I got 2 slices of it. I got one of those little Brazilian drinks in the green can. Drank that, and then I left, and we got back to my hotel, and everything was smooth. I went straight
time to rest.
It was. I went. Actually, what I did is I got to the steam. They had a sauna in the hotel. So I got in the sauna, did some breathing. I loosened up, and then I went to the shower, and I felt amazing.
Do you stretch in the sauna?
I do.
That's one of my new things I tell people. I've been doing it for about 2 years now. It's not new brand, but I've always, from my accident, a lot of scar tissue, broken femur, my hips, all that, like my knees. I could just never, that was my biggest hindrance my first couple years of jiu-jitsu is I had just no leg movement at all, no flexibility in my hips. And what finally, I could stretch and just not get any more range of motion. Yeah. Painfully stretch.
Yeah, I was saying it's painful too.
And in the sauna, what I found was all of a sudden I'm moving another inch. Another inch. And then all of a sudden my head is touching my knees. My hips are loosening up. And I will tell you and anyone out there, stretching in a sauna has become a ritual for me. Yeah. And anytime I'm in a sauna, as long as it's not packed, I'm stretching for 15 minutes of the 20 or 30 minutes I'm in, and I feel amazing. My back doesn't hurt anymore. My hips are loosened up, and it's a world of difference.
It is a big difference. So I'll do the same thing when nobody's in there. I'll start, but like you said, it's the legs and the hips. That's always going to be our biggest thing. So I'll work with that, and then I'll go up and I'll start working on my lower back. So
Yeah.
that's sometimes when I get that lower back to sciatica, it'll tighten up.
Which starts from your hands and your hips usually.
Yeah, it goes down, it goes up, and it's just, you can feel it all. So then I'll get down, I'll start working my back. But then also, what else I'll do is I'll do breathing exercises too.
Yeah.
And I'll do 5-10 minutes of that. And it's almost like intoxicating. You get,
Yeah.
when you really start to get into it, so I do that. And
You do the box breathing, or what do you do? What kind of breathing?
just deep breathing and and so I'll box breathe too.
Uh-huh.
So I get that done, and it opens up everything, and that's always good. But I get in there at least 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I try to.
Oh yeah.
So, and that just helps out tremendously.
Yeah, no, sauna is one of my routines now. Right after my workout, when I'm hitting the weights, hitting the sauna, it just feels so good.
Just loosen it up, and then it finishes up everything. And you also burn calories, right? Especially after you've already worked out, your body's already in that mode. It's already ignited and everything. So we just burn those extra calories. And, sweating. And if you got anything in there, you get it sweat out.
Yeah.
So. But that's those regimens, like you said, going back to me coming back and how I felt and everything, I had it on I really put it down. In my office, I've got this whiteboard every year. I write down, I'll put some motivational quotes, and I put the tournaments in there. When you're at 22 tournaments, that's all. And I've gotten the number 1 at each belt level, right? White, blue, right, purple. Now at purple, I'm broken into the top 10, which I'm good, this second year that I'm competing. And then I'm in the CBJJ, which is the Brazilian IBJJ. I'm actually number 1 in ultra and number 2 overall. Right. Because winning
went to those tournaments.
Yeah, winning those 2 at absolute, and because that's a major, and that's actually it's actually one of the bigger tournaments. So when it comes to Worlds, I'll have those points, those Grand Prix points.
Yeah.
So no matter if somebody has more points than me, it doesn't matter.
You get good seeding with that.
Yeah, I'm number 2 with Grand Prix points overall. So if the person that's ahead of me doesn't show up, I'll be number 1 at Worlds.
So someone any age, because obviously, we're not spring chickens anymore. And to stay healthy, and obviously you've taken some bumps and bruises, and you fought through some injuries. Talk about the mindset and like you said, you got your whiteboard.
Yeah.
What's your training regimen look like going in? Week after week, month after month. What is your schedule, and how do you, with running a business? Because I know, after I opened this clinic, I joked with you, I hadn't been on the mats in freaking couple months. And so it's hard. So how are you managing that?
So I turned 50 in October last year. I broke that.
We're the same age.
I broke into that.
Okay, you looking good.
Well, thank you. I give probably my mom credit on that. But also, I take care of myself. Look, I don't drink. I don't smoke. I've had maybe a glass of wine since I stopped drinking. I moved from Louisiana. So
social city.
Yeah, exactly. But when Self was born 22 years ago, I was going to promise to myself, I said, hey, look, I think me to be the best father I can be, I'm going to stop drinking. Yeah, and I've had a drink about,
a social
maybe, honestly, between 2004 and today, I can count on one hand.
Yeah.
And the last time we went to the American International Masters, I took Stella and Angelique, and we went to a vineyard, and I had won double gold that year. So I was like, man, and so what was funny is I said, let me have a wine tasting. You only poured this much in there after 4 glasses of that after tasting. You feel it? I was like, I need to get a cheese board to eat. But that's one thing. I don't drink, don't smoke, of course. But just the daily regimens that I do, just for my physical health and my mental health. I wake up, you and I Regen you guys have me on certain peptides and on certain regimens that I take.
Yeah.
And that itself, I started taking peptides in around 2016 and 18. Not many, just some old. That first one when I was playing volleyball. Volleyball. Some guys from the West Coast had told me about them, and they were I was like, okay, let me look into it. Talk to a doctor in Ohio. That's where when we had the business in Ohio, and it was just Samoan. And so I was taking that along, and it was helping me heal faster. I was in my 40s still at that time, so I still needed something. And that's the one thing is taking care of yourself. Because if you're physically doing well and you're mentally doing well, it makes things a lot easier. Cool. Like you said with the businesses, we've got Hyperion, we've got the engineering, the construction group, and we've got some other the hemp business and the biochar facility. But what I do now is I actually go to lunch classes, and people are always, that's the only thing I can do. Eric comes into Vita on Mondays and Wednesdays. I catch him with that. I'll try to do some weekend classes, but it's like, I just got to get in when I can.
Right.
I mean, if I don't, sometimes I'll make a nighttime class in Slidell if I can, depending on if I'm doing something. Say I'm going to see Folgers, that's one of my clients. And I'm out that way, I can come back through. And a lot of times, if I'm just not, if I'm not up to par, full strength that day, I'll do the drills and then I'll coach, the lot rounds.
Yeah.
And we're good with that. But I mean, that's as much as I can get in. And I still, what I'll do before tournaments is like any other athlete would do. I'll watch videos of my competitors, who's in my division.
Right.
When it comes down to like worlds, me and some other guys, we do this, and I know for a fact that the top competitors around the world, that we're all in that top tier group in our belt divisions and stuff, and we all kind of talk about it, but get a spreadsheet. So we got 15, 20, there were 10, 12 people in the absolute like that. Now the absolute, I can't do anything about that. I did know that the top 5 individuals in our division were there, so I did know it was coming against them. I got to fight all 4 of them.
Yeah.
So that's why the absolute was such a big deal for me. I actually was ranked 5th going into that absolute, and with everybody in there, and I was able to beat 1 through 4.
Yeah. Plus, it's like game film for like a quarterback.
Exactly.
I remember our oldest son, of course, he would do films like constantly, like quarterback, and then the other day we were training with Rich Clementi, and Asher went out there to train with Rich and Cash and the team out there, and showing Rich some videos. The one kid that's a state champion that's been beating Asher this year. Really good wrestler. And so Rich watches 2 rounds of their last, 2 matches where Asher lost a real close one and then lost the one where Asher didn't wrestle his best.
Yeah.
And one of the first things he goes, Asher, he can only shoot to his right. And like that was an immediate, he's like, you need to start, he's like, if you stop him from going to the right and shooting right on you. And it was funny because that was before state, and when they went, Asher stuffed the first 2 rounds. Like he barely got a takedown because of the little pointer Rich made. He's like, he never shoots to the left. And so just like you said, those little things that you pick up when you're watching film,
and people do, and then
on your people's, because people have patterns or people have habits or a dominant side. Everyone's got a dominant side.
Everybody has a dominant side. They have patterns and they have sequences.
Yeah.
Just like in jiu-jitsu. I coach people, I don't give out too many secrets, but I mean that's what I tell you, you're successful in certain divisions. And I mean every division's different, right? Of course. The medium and lightweights aren't doing the same thing as the ultras, some of the super heavies. It's a big difference between the super heavy and the ultra division, but it's the sequence and patterns, like you said. I know, so most ultras, they may not pull guard. They got some. I do, as my size. So super, I'll pull guard, and I also pull guard on both sides. And that's Eric's trained us very well in the sense of being versatile on both. I mean, my dominant is right. I do like to go that way. But I'm goofy-footed when I skateboard. I'm kind of ambidextrous with all that stuff with volleyball, so I do left-handed stuff very well. But like when I watch my guys, okay, that guy is never going to pull, or that guy's going to pull in the first 5 seconds. Which side is he going to pull on? How can I grab his leg and drag it across and get those 2 points?
Yeah.
So like you said, Asher, it took a variable away from Asher that he didn't have to worry about. He didn't have to worry about his side. Mm-hmm. The kid's coming in on this side, and he can stuff that. He knows, and that right there. And once that guy does it 2-3 times and he doesn't get it,
right,
his morale goes down. So it all compounds, but that's one thing that we do. I do look forward. I'm proactive in doing things like that, just as a competitor, as an athlete.
Yeah,
I talk with all my coaches. I mean, sometimes they say I talk too much, but my mindset. Even when I'm rolling, they laugh at me, all my teammates. But I always I'm talking through with it, and I'm trying. Even I'm talking to myself. And I'm like, stop talking, Kennedy. Shut the fuck up. I'm like, Kennedy, chill. I said, I'm this ADHD mind of mine.
Yeah.
I've got to be able to process it. They get it now. But I can do it. I can verbally talk about it, but mental preparation is the key. And then, of course, physical preparation. That's just 24/7. And having my wife. I mean, she's just as big on that as I am. Just like you, Jennifer. I mean, y'all are the same kind of couple. Like, I do things, she's doing things. If I think what she's doing, like we'll catch up with each other, and when we get to the point, like how our diets are, what we do in the morning, what our regimens. I mean, of course, our nighttime regimens, like we said, it's 30 minutes more than mine. But I'll put hemp seed all on my face and go to bed and feel good about it. But but that's another thing. But just discipline.
Yeah,
discipline's it. Like, but you also got. I mean, I know different people, and I hate to say this sometimes, but like, I've always been like that. But I've always had fire in my heart. So, and maybe the way that
you're a volleyball champion, you're a basketball player.
It's the way I grew up, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I grew up in Baker, like on the street, on the poor side of Baker. Like, I grew up off of Rome Road, and 4 places, and 2 places. And I mean, when I think back, it wasn't a big deal to us when I drive there now. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But growing up with less fortunate, I mean, Trey, he's from out that way too. He'll tell you. I mean,
it makes you hungry.
Yeah, it does make you hungry. I knew one thing for sure. Like, I was getting out of that town, whether it was athletics and either athletics or it was going to be academia, which was good because it kind of was a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But like, man, I go back. I try to do some things. We talked about, me and some of my partners, English partners, talked about going back to talking to Baker. Schools and districts and mayors, and maybe doing some kind of philanthropy,
I don't know if you do something like that or like talk finances too.
Yeah,
there was a group I talked to, and they do some work with some of the schools, and I told them like for credit, and finance,
absolutely.
or health, like I was so glad to see, they brought back like the physical fitness award.
Yeah,
and then I've been fighting with our school. I think it's ridiculous. I almost said the banned R word. The school has PE twice a week where Asher goes.
It's crazy.
That's the most idiotic thing I've heard. Every day. Like, especially young boys, they need that activity.
Physical activity.
Being physically fit and being discipline are like 2 things that will carry you through everything in life.
I can't sit at a desk for a long period of time, much less hours a day.
Yes, I'm in my 40s. You just turned 50. That's what I joke all the time. I was like, you want a kid to listen to most of these teachers are pretty boring. Sorry, teachers. Like, be more interesting, and the kids will pay more attention.
Yeah.
But they got a curriculum, and a lot of times, again, who cares about what happened in 1742?
Yeah.
Nobody. So you got to make it really intriguing for that kid, or else they're going to wander off.
Yeah. They're going to be looking out the windows. They're going to be
texting their friend under the desk because now they got phones.
They got phones and all that stuff. So I mean, but that's one thing for sure. And I know how schools.
That'd be great.
But I'm definitely going to start doing that.
Because you do a lot too. You do the Special Olympics coaching still.
Yeah, I did some coaching. I actually stepped back. We had our last final season with the Mandeville Mustangs. Now the team is continuing on, but just with the new businesses, also with the travel, like I've already got it set to where.
We've been doing that for several years now.
5 since 2021.
Yeah,
it's been amazing. And like I said, we just got another proclamation from the parish president, Mike Cooper. He gave for just the things that team is the accomplishments they've had.
Yeah,
what they've done. It was amazing. We got it on video as well.
Yeah.
He gave us a proclamation. I had gotten some medals from one of our volleyball medal makers.
Yeah,
they sent them in. So we had a big presentation. I took everybody out to eat afterwards and kind of told them, I said, hey, look, Coach is not going anywhere per se, but I want to hand this over to some new coaches. I want to be able to say it's still the same. Nothing changes. I said, Coach will come in. I said, because they know never. I said, I'll come in. And I said, we'll do like a play and a lunch type thing. So what I'll do is I'll come in and have a big 2-hour practice, and I'll order from Sticks Barbecue or one of the local Mandeville places, and they'll come in. It's Raising Cane's is a good one. And so we'll play hard, and they'll eat, and we'll get to celebrate. But yeah, I mean, in this sense, that's actually I won't be doing that as much. I definitely want to fill that in with just something to give my time and my
do something for the community. That's nice.
Yeah. So I do that. But yeah, it's a culmination. Circling back to what we were talking about, like that whiteboard means everything.
Yeah.
And like I see something that I need to write down. Like I'll hear a quote and I'm like, oh man, so I'll get on there. But I got everything down on the side of every tournament. So far I went to Atlanta, and I got silver. But I hadn't competed in almost 6 months, kind of rusty. I just took off a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the next one, Atlanta, Austin, double gold. So far I've double gold ever since then. Then for the next 4 tournaments I've double gold.
Hell yeah.
So I'm on a roll. I feel comfortable. I feel confident. I got to deal with this little leg issue that I've got.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Look at that. Look at that knot right there.
The hematoma. They're gonna. What happened is me, just having those matches and some deli heelers and some leg sweeps and kicks and probably being spastic. They see it as a purple belt, but it caused the hematoma. And the next 2 days, as I'm sitting at the tournament, walking up and down the, going to get my acai bowls every couple hours.
I bet those are really good in Brazil.
We talked about them today. They're so plain there, but they're so good, and it's amazing. And they put like this powdered milk on top too, which makes it good. But it's so plain. They just put the granola, they put a couple of blueberries and some banana, or just banana, and whatever it is. But I mean, everybody in the whole stadium is eating these things nonstop. I eat like 3 a day because I'm like, while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and get it. So it caused a little inflammation on it. I had to fly back Sunday. When I got back Sunday morning, I was, spent some time.
That altitude will get
And
you.
that's what happened. Is actually they told me, they said it was like a perfect storm.
Yeah.
I've gotten some medication I was taking just for pain. And so, but tomorrow they're going to go in, they're going to do an incision, they're going to clean it out, and it'll be good after that. But it's just kind of crazy that it's like what happens when you.
Oh yeah, when you showed, I was like, man, I thought you were doing jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai this week.
It looks like I was kicking.
Remember when Poirier kicked the shit out of McGregor's leg, and it was that first time he beat McGregor with the calf kicks?
And that's what it looked like.
That's exactly what it looked like.
And the doctor was like, it can go down within 6 to 12 months. I was like, I was like,
about 6 days.
I was like, see, let's expedite this. So
yeah, we're impatient.
I'll be back on my next. I'm scheduled for American Nationals, which is in Vegas.
Yeah.
Got silver in that last year. I was actually winning in the finals when I had that toe injury, and they gave me a medical disqualification. I was like, please, God, don't stop this match. I had his back. I was up by like 6 points in my toe, but my toe was kind of like shooting to the side. Eric and all were on the sidelines looking at it, and I was like, it's okay. I didn't feel it. Now I felt it the next day.
It happened.
Yeah. But
like when John Jones' bone came out of his toe. Remember that? It's just one.
It's like you don't feel it at the moment, but the next day I was spent the day to stay in the hospital. So, but yeah, just getting prepped and ready, but the mental aspect of it. I mean, like since growing up the way I grew up, and just being like less fortunate, I guess. It builds something. It builds a character in you. I can tell you this: you ain't never gonna find a world champion in most sports that comes from a higher standard of living.
Yeah,
I don't think you do. I mean, especially not in.
I think tennis and golf maybe.
Yeah, because and maybe I guess the question is, volleyball is a pretty expensive one too. But
because your cost of entry to those sports is so high.
They don't let us people. In Baker, I get to go to Baker Heights and go play on the goals with chains on, double rim chain goals.
The rims half bent
from everybody hanging off.
Almost.
But I mean, that's the thing with basketball. It didn't matter. I didn't need 5 people. I didn't need 10 people. I could go dribble my basketball from Broom Road over there in
Clark.
Drove to the park, shoot for 2 hours, work on what I needed to work on, and then when I started playing, middle school and high school ball, with anywhere from Bethany and then Central Private, everything poured out. Then you got a team that you're playing with. But up to that, you can play anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
So. But I think in fighting and then boxing and martial arts, you're probably not going to find some silver spoon guy that's probably world champion. I think I've heard that said before. Like, there's a lot to be said about that. But hey, I mean, it's
a lot of parents won't let their kids do that.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, because of the fact. But I think with jiu-jitsu, I make the kids. My daughter had done it. All my kids have done it so far. Seth wants to get back into it in Fort Collins.
Yeah, your boy was a good.
Yeah, he was good. I mean, he's got that nice build. He was a football player, volleyball player, so he's going to do well. He's going to get back into it. Yeah. Stella, she hated it. But I mean, she didn't like wrestling with the boys. But I told her.
It's hard for a girl when you're going up against the boys. Like, at a young age and stuff like that. It can be disheartening. It is. But they don't have a good girls group.
And that's the thing. They didn't at that point in time. They had a couple, but she's like, I don't like the sweaty boys. I said, well, in reality,
the sweaty guy did.
I don't like it either. But in reality, who do you think is going to be trying to do things to you? Say when you go to college, it's going to be boys. So she does have some self-defense.
Right.
Now Soren, he's been doing it since he's 5. He took a break for soccer and basketball because they were kind of close together. But he's starting back in the summer.
I say it all the time. I know I said it on here before. I say it anytime it comes up, but can't say enough of what it's done for the confidence
Yes.
of the kids, the boys and girls that were in the class.
Yeah.
I know firsthand Asher. I mean, his foundation that he built in jiu-jitsu is one that, I mean, I remember we were in Palm Beach when he was young after he had just done nationals in Orlando.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how amazing we were on my buddy's boat and, hey, we may move here in a couple years. The only thing Asher said, he'd love to move there, but the one reason he didn't want to move, he goes, I don't want to have to find a new jiu-jitsu gym. And I'm not a jiu-jitsu friend. He didn't care about anything else from Louisiana. That's how tight that group had gotten and how much he loved. And now wrestling is his passion.
Yeah.
But it did wonders for him as a young person to develop and mature.
Absolutely.
And I always say, I think you need a martial art and a team sport at some point growing up. And like you said, they may fall out of, they may not like it. They might find out that they don't, but at least you know how to defend yourself. You've built the confidence and you've experienced it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, to not experience any of that or team culture.
Or not be a team player.
Yeah, like you have to play a team sport too. Like that was one Asher has played team sport. Now, high school, he has said he's probably not going to play football.
Yeah.
Because he wants to focus 100%. Because just like you, he's committed that he's going to be a state champion at Catholic High.
Absolutely.
And
I can't wait for that moment.
And to do that, you got to dedicate.
Yeah.
You know, but he's played so many years of team sports that he's got that mindset. And there's still a wrestling team.
Yeah.
You know, like it's individual when you're in the ring.
It is. Those two sports are like a dichotomy. I say that all the time. I said, you got a team that trains with you. But just like going in Brazil, like you've seen the crowds. I've got some videos I can say, like even every day it's just nuts. But that's the thing about being in Brazil, it's so wild. Like you can have all the teammates with you. The guys from US, Matt Church. I had Matt Church there. I had a Casey. He's from Houston. Those two guys won gold.
Yes.
Adrian was slated to win gold. He's actually a black belt in judo.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he's bad. He's a bad dude. Yeah, he travels with us. He lost his second match of the day because of it was a ref's decision. And I told everybody that. I said, "Look, guys, they were all
so hard not to listen,
guys. Number one, you're in Brazil. I said, even if you look Brazilian, me and Adrian, you got the look. I said, they're gonna know. I said, you let it go to a jet ref's decision, whether it's 1-1, 0-0, 2-2. I don't care. I said, they're going to get it. I said, the guy with the four names, not three, is going to get it. And sure enough, he lost. And I was like, and so he didn't have a podium. But if he'd have won that was a quarterfinal. He got the podium, he didn't have. Matt Church, he's a real good competitor. Me and him have gone back and forth with some of our matches throughout the years. Yeah. I beat me in some big time tournaments. He actually got gold and he got bronze. But he ran into a massive, super heavy opponent in the semis. Guy was like my size. I was like, I don't know how that guy weighed into that, but I get it. So, but yeah, double gold, man. There's another U.S. Athlete. She's a brown belt. She got double gold. Besides that, I think we were the only two that did the whole.
So, I think the toughest things you could ever do is step in the ring, one-on-one, for a fight.
Yeah.
Whatever, if it's a jiu-jitsu match, a wrestling match, an MMA match.
Yes, absolutely.
Talk about that. Like,
I mean,
the nerves, the mindset, how do you get mentally prepared knowing, this guy weighs about 40 pounds, you're going in there with a 270-pound machine. Yeah, I mean, everyone at the world, I mean, y'all are, these are the best of the best.
They didn't get they don't hand out belts, right?
Yeah, so how do you mentally prepare for that?
So, honestly, I think I became prepared because the first thing I did when I started jiu-jitsu being an athlete, I asked a bunch of white belts at Gracie. I said, hey, if you had one thing that you could change it up in a white belt, what would it be? Joe Girard, a couple of them, they all give me the same answer. They're like, I would have competed for them. I said, really? They're like, yeah. I said, okay, so as a white belt, I competed 8 times, went to Europe, won that.
Yeah.
Won Jiu-Jitsu Con, which is kind of like the world's for white belts. And I had 8 tournaments. So that was a lot for a white belt. And the blue belt, that's when I went nuts. 22 one year.
Yeah, that year was nuts.
And I nobody was even close to me in the points. And of course, I pretty much won almost everything. But I think that it's basically a repetition and getting that under my belt, those competitions, is what's preparing me. Now, when I moved from super to ultra, I did have my problems. I was like, man, I'm sitting there and I knew these guys were going to be all. Look, I've gone.
Because there's no cutoff, right? I mean, they could be 300 plus.
I've had multiple 300 plus components. Now, I've won some, but once you get underneath, once something like that, it's a world of hurt to get out from underneath that.
Yeah.
But I think the mental aspect is basically, excuse my French, not giving a fuck. Me and Tony Russo and Joel, these are my teammates. And they're in the same Masters. We're Alex as well. We're all in that same age group, and we all do extremely well. But that's kind of our mentality. Well, doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like, before my tournament, before my match, Joel and Tony were calling me. We sounded like a bunch of juveniles. He was just yelling on the phone. I said, hey, I got it, man. He's like, you go in there and you rip that. I was like, all right, coach. I said, I got it. But, but you just gotta stay motivated. But you do. But I still get butterflies.
Yeah.
When I'm walking out from the pit, and you've got all these people surrounding this huge arena, and everybody's like yelling, and you don't know what they're saying. It's Portuguese. And they are. Bro, you get to the side of that mat, it's just everything. It's you look, I got goosebumps. You feel it, and you're like, this is it. And then I do my little thing. I get down, like I touch the mat, and I get on, I kind of crouch down. When they call us in, I kind of like kick into there to loosen my legs. And that's my original. But once I shake that guy's hand and I look at my opponent, it's done. Everything goes quiet. It's just in my mind, and I think that's just the way that I work.
Yeah.
Now, do I use certain things to elevate my performances? Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, whenever I get into big matches, I use anger.
Oh yeah.
I think about hate. I think about the stuff that I endured from my stepdad. We had a podcast with Craig Gaspar a few months back, and we talked about being physically abused by my mom's second husband. But even through all sports, even at high school basketball, that's what I used to think about. It's like, using that as fuel.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised that once you start getting into that world, it's a big boost. Now, not all the time. I mean, there's a lot of times when I go in there and call. There's times when I'm listening to classical music, or I'm listening to. I mean, people are laughing when I'm listening to music that you would never think. Look, it's either Tupac, Lil Boozy, or a local, juvenile, or it goes down and it's like it's either country music. It just depends on the mood or where I'm at. Now in Brazil, it was Tupac. I was in there.
Hit him up.
I hit him up. I was like, oh, this is great. I was like, look, you can probably see my words. I'm sitting there, that mother. I was like, I had the video on, but I took my headphones off and then I get down and I go. Just depends on the situation, but that's I use that. People always ask me. I was like, I've been using that as a kid now. And sometimes I don't think but it's getting better as I get older. I'm starting to learn that it doesn't have to be such anger based or that based, which is really where my jiu-jitsu starts to get better, because then I'm like, I can't just use the physicality or my athletic ability as much as I've got the skill set that I've learned. And I mean, not many 6'5", 230, 235 dudes are like pulling guard and playing Delahila and Spider Lasso, which is great on me. But I mean, I look at Hoyer Grayson. I look at Nicholas Marigali and those guys out there my size. I've already met them all. Just like Gordon Ryan.
Oh yeah.
They're all monsters, but they've got the ability to do that. And I just think, well, they can do what I can do. At my age, I don't try to do what 20-year-olds do. Of course. But I do it to a certain extent. But it's just little steps. It's little steps, and all those steps add up to one big thing.
Yeah.
And that's after so far, it's winning. And I can take that with me. I mean, nobody can ever take these medals away from it.
Yeah.
Just like,
how'd you feel when you won the match? Did you win by? How did you win? Did you win by a submission?
Ultra, I had to come back. I was down by two advantages. And so, like, what had happened is I was going back, and I knew I was actually going to pull guard to a sweep. Me and Jolet have been working on this. So,
speaking of being under a 300-pound person,
he's rough. That's what I tell people. Going, how do you prepare? I'm like, dude.
I got to be under him. 6'9". Oh, like, this is a guy that makes you look small.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and athlete. Like this dude played pro basketball.
I've been knowing him since he played Commission so.
Oh man, I used to hate going against him because he's athletic and he's 300 plus
and he's
pounds.
smart.
and he's a black belt now. He's so good.
Yeah. So he comes in, thank you know, I'm glad Josh lets us borrow him. He comes in and he works with me before big events like that. And so I had my sequence all down when I went to get in and I went to catch this guy's foot. When I did, it was something on the mat. I don't know if you can tell, but I slipped. As soon as that happened, I wrapped my left leg around and I got my knee shield in, and then they set us up in the middle, and I just had to sleeve grip and push the guy back, get it and guard. So my whole game was shut. I was like, I got to change everything up.
Oh, yeah.
So I actually got down. The guy, if you look at the match, he put me in a omoplata, and people were like, he's about to break. The guy that was coaching, he was like, he said, I don't know what you need to do. He said, he's going to break your arm. I actually grabbed him from underneath. I pushed back so I could extend a little bit so I didn't get caught up. I picked his big ass up and I rolled around him, and then I was able to get my 2-5. I got a takeout.
Yeah.
And so once he got me in guard, I looked at the time. I was like, yeah, he was dying anyway. His 280 was just like, so we played that off. But so I won by points on that match. The next two, and so we get to the absolute quarterfinals was a submission. The semifinals was submission. Nice. And the medium actually beat the ultra. I wanted the ultra again back because I think I hadn't done a much. You know, he beat him, and then I had a 5-minute just brawl fest with this medium. I mean, him and I, it was nonstop. I got some takedowns. I won 6-0. But when I tell you, it was one of the most active fights I've been in, matches I've been in a while. And he said the same thing. This guy was in great shape. He's awesome, isn't that? Good guy. He's an international guy. But he was like, I told him, I said, thank you for this match. I said, this is a blessing for me to be able to win this and you be my opponent. He was like, absolutely. Yeah, so 4 matches, 2 subs, 2 by points. Nobody scored on me. I did have the 2 advantages, but yeah, I had 37 second sub in the semis.
Hell yeah.
To the super heavy, which
that's nice. You get to concern him with
That's right. I went at him so hard. I was like, because he's my size. I was like, okay, this guy's kind of come out very strong, which he did because I watched his match before. Yeah. And he was very good. I was like, I think he thought we were gonna like dance a little bit. I was like, oh no, Diego. We're getting this party started. So I got the collar drag out on him and just started cross face. I got his hips down like that, and I brought him back in. I stepped over. What I did is I went up and I went to underhook him. I got his arm, and I had that hook underneath like that. Well, he went and he grabbed my collar from across. And dude, I was thinking Professor Dave, wrist lock Dave. I said, uh-oh. So you can't really tell, but I'm on top of him. But he got that boy, and I moved my arm over and I wrist locked him. Dude, he was like, he yelled.
So you wrist lock, the dirty wrist lock.
I was a dirty boy. He was like,
only jiu-jitsu people know the legends of the dirty wrist lock.
I told Dave about it. Dave was like, beautiful. Yeah. Dave wrist locks everybody. I mean, he was smart. He didn't care, but
Jeremy DePrato's he's in our 6 a.m. breakfast club for wrist locks.
Yeah.
So yeah. He told me after, I haven't, he's one of our black belt instructors. He's like, dude, you could have tapped me on that wrist lock. And I was like, damn it. I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah.
Like his wrist was like in a prone position underneath.
Yeah.
And if I'd have just pulled his,
that's it. All you got. I mean,
but I didn't even know it was there because I was like every time I'm with him, I'm fighting for my life.
Yeah.
It was the one time he's like, you could have had the wrist lock. It's so fun. I didn't just probably retire from class for a couple months and be like, all right, I'm not just keep this on. That'd have been like my world championship right there.
In the Europeans, I did that to a French guy, but he deserved it though. Like he was like talking trash to me when I do it. Like, yeah. And I'll get people in that lasso and I'll pull it deep, and they're moving around that stuff. I'll just pop it real quick. But yeah, it just so happened. I mean, I wasn't meaning to do that. I mean, I had a cross face and I had that underhook and I started like living out a little bit. But I felt my arm just pull in by itself. I was like, wait a minute. And what he was doing, he was posting off of. He was trying to get me off of him, but when he did that, I felt that, and I was like, boop. So yeah, it was interesting. But that trip was amazing. I mean,
what was the feeling like when they got you your gold medals?
It was awesome. And everybody, and of course it was so late because the absolute that night, and all the people, they call me Shawn, that Brazilian, that Portuguese, speaking of the Brazilians, and all the people were excited. That's the good thing. Like, they were excited for me. They knew. That was the only, there was another American in the purple belt division that he didn't do it. He signed up for absolute, and I was like, I was going to tell him, like, hey, congratulations, you're in super heavy. I'm glad you got a silver. But He didn't show. I don't know if he didn't show up, but so, but it wasn't in my bracket, so it didn't really matter. But I was the only American in there, so they, they were cool with me. And the next day when I went back, they were still just congratulating me.
That's nice.
They knew. I mean, I got interviewed.
They were showing you respect and some love. That's cool.
Yeah. So you got to realize this too. All the Europeans that I compete against, and like we've been to Europe and stuff like that, but all the Europeans that come to Vegas, all the Brazilians that come to Vegas, all the Japanese and all those international, like the Turkish, all those competitors.
Yeah.
Dude, it's not easy. I mean, at a young age it might be, but it's not easy to take that kind of a trip to go into these matches or go into these events, because you do got to come in a couple of days, like you said. I didn't have that luxury, but also Brazil's a little different. It's just straight down. I've been there for 3 years. I knew what to expect. It wasn't like my first year. But I gotta always do credit where credit's due. Like the Germans and stuff that I compete against, so the Dutch or the Polish, they know. When I go to Europe, they know. They always ask how you feeling and back. I mean, when they get to Vegas.
That's true, because you got jet lag. You get freaking. I mean, like
that's why it's
altitude, all that, like water retention and stuff. People don't realize how much that puts on your body traveling and stuff. I know too, like IBJJF, you still weigh in right before you go on the mat.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So it's not like, for people who are watching, this isn't like a lot of UFC or even a lot of the wrestling tournaments or some of the other leagues, other jiu-jitsu tournaments where you weigh in that morning or the day before. It's wonderful.
Yeah, the day before.
Everyone loves the day before weigh-ins. Because, I mean, you could put on 10, 15 pounds easy. After weigh-ins by rehydrating and carb loading if you've been in a major cut. I mean, you see the pros do it all the time. So IBJJF, to put that in perspective, the gi weighs a little over 3 pounds. And then you got to step on the scale in your gi 15 minutes before you're going to fight.
That's it.
Before you roll, you're stepping on the scale. So you don't have that luxury. Or if you did make a big weight cut, you're still holding that cut going into the match, which is
that depletion,
which is draining.
So normally when I was doing super heavy for those three years, I always had a little concoction of like some athletic greens, some BCAAs, some creatine, glutamine, stuff like that. And as soon as I got in, I'm talking as soon as I weighed in and they gave me the okay,
then you're hydrated.
Shoving it down, so hydrated, stuff like that. I mean, it's just one of those things where I get you get goosebumps right off the bat, and you start to feel a little better. 15, 20 minutes, and then after that first match, which is usually the hardest, because you got to get everything out. You got a 5 to 10 minute wait. I'll start. Me and Clay Gordon, we do Rice Krispies. I'll tear the Rice Krispie treats up. Just that quick sugar, that quick hit. And after about the second and third match, with 3 Rice Krispies in me.
So a friend of mine was Tom Cockerham. You know Tom, Dr. Tom?
I've heard that name,
Bodybuilder. He was the fight doctor here in town for all the fights for years, all the Gladiators days and Rich Clemente, all the fights that were any of the boxing. He was the fight doctor ringside for years. And I remember him, I think it was Kyle Bradley and someone else, but he was telling me their little trick after weigh-ins was, and I couldn't believe it, and I did it, and I felt fucking amazing. For my AGF tournament a couple years ago, McDonald's hash browns.
You serious?
I was like, that's the nastiest shit ever. I won't ever put that in my body. But he goes, Brandon, try it. And the sodium and the carbs
all together.
And holy shit, I felt great. My endurance was good. Like, it was crazy. But I remember when he says McDonald's hash brown, like, and I tried it. I was like, I'll try it. I'll try anything once. And it worked like a freaking charm. So I would never, because I, like you, it was my BCAAs, rice cakes, like healthy, bananas and fruit. And that was kind of where I got my carb loading from after weight. But it was always fruit and like healthy stuff. When Tom said, add a freaking, he's like, you need some sodium because you're pulling so much fluid. He said, get that he's like, it's freaking loaded. I was like, I know, that was one that put me fucking crazy on it, but I was like, it's a local tournament, I got nothing to lose, I'll try it.
I've heard some people saying, like, after real brutal, like preps for, like, say, big tournaments, is drinking Coke. I don't drink carbonated drinks, but I mean, like there's like sugars and all that stuff. And I was like, I can see
some fast sugars. A lot of guys love like a little chocolate bar.
Yeah, so chocolate. I don't know. You have some dark chocolate squares. And pop those in there, but it's just all part of the regimen. I mean, it is part of it. But when it boils down to it, it's two things. I mean, it's the want. Yeah. And then how bad do you want it? Yeah. Because you got to give up a lot of stuff. Like I got to give credit to my wife and my kids. I mean, it's even though it's at this division, it's the Masters. I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, a lot of these guys that I know that some of them don't have kids. I mean, their kids are older, and so they got that.
Yeah, they started young, and so like they're not dealing with school and this and that, so they can train 5-6 days a week without any issues.
But it's always good to see this too. Like a bunch of the competitors. I mean, I've actually gotten done business with a lot of the competitors.
Yes.
So, whether it be in the construction or the engineering division or groups and stuff, but like they're all. I mean, people with this mindset, you kind of realize like they have a mindset of being successful.
They're high level alpha
achievers, and we laugh about that. Now you do go to some of these tournaments in West Texas and all that. These cats are walking around like mullets and like tattooed faces. I'm like, bro, like, it didn't have to be that way. You know what I mean? But it's just cool. Look, what's awesome, it's awesome is when you meet those people.
They're so cool.
They're the coolest, most genuine people, and the people are like, I'm taking pictures with them, and people are like, I was like, hey, I said, look,
you're fighters. You're really good fighters. I tell her all the time. First of all, they're not the ones starting shit.
No,
out there.
Never.
They're pretty humble, and they know how to control the situation for the most part. There's very few punk ass high level like black belts and stuff like that, because you lose that on the journey to get to that level.
You get beat like a rag doll for so long.
Yeah,
you just learn. I mean, you learn how to eat. Look, you've got to give it. You got to be able to take it.
Yeah,
and that's how I'm glad that this was my 52nd goal in IBJJF.
Wow.
52 goals, 11 silvers, and 3 bronzes.
Who's counting though, right?
Hey, right. I mean, look, I just want to get. I want to get to my 100th medal is what I want to do. And of course, I do want to keep count up. But I mean, it keeps me going.
No, that's next level.
But man, it does take a lot though. For my wife, like those times whenever they don't go to every tournament with me. So me and the teammates and stuff like that. And you know what else is a blessing is having a professor that not only competed, but still competes. Yeah. Josh was saying this the other day. I love listening to Josh. I need to come down here. He's asking me to come.
Yeah, we got to train.
I will. I'll tell him for sure. Come for sure. I said, he said he's got like 3 other monsters. Besides Joe has a break. And so all I need is 3 rounds like that.
That's probably, there was a brown belt.
He was telling me about him.
We were doing takedowns one day, and I remember
like 3.
I stuffed like a good bit of takedowns. I've been learning a little bit, just watching my son wrestle for like a couple years. My takedowns and my takedown defense got a lot better, just from like working with him a little bit. And so I was doing good. We were doing like kind of like Shark, like middle Shark Tank, and so then this freaking refrigerator walks up, and he lines up to my, like my line. I'm like, and he comes in offensive lineman type speed.
Oh yeah.
And momentum, and I mean just low, like, and just like he just ran right through me. I couldn't stop it. It was phenomenal. And he's a brown belt, and like, of course he was still in the center when I came around. I was like, I'm going back for you.
Right.
I couldn't move him, man. He was a monster. So that might be one of the guys.
Matters. I mean,
that's why there are weight classes.
That's right. There's weight classes and age classes for a reason. Now, I've actually won adult weight classes of mine, but like, dude, even though I won the tournament, I felt like I got beat for the next 4 days. Like, these kids don't stop. And they're like, what's funny is I'm walking up to the podium, one of them was like, how old are you? I was like, I was in my 40s. I was like, I'm 40-something. They're like, you're a strong old man. I'm like, shut the hell up. I was like, shut up. But it's been a challenge. And I'm going to keep challenging myself. I mean,
so you're saying about coaches, Josh and Eric.
Yeah.
Sorry, I never
with you, but it's having coaches that have, number one, they've competed at high levels. I mean, look at Josh. I mean, the things he's done, especially in Nogi, like AECC and all that. Yeah. Eric, of course, because he's Brazilian, he's been there from a young age. Yeah. But they still compete, or they still coach, and they know what they're doing. But to have somebody in your corner like that, it makes it all like. I mean, look, I see Eric. He asked me to do something. Hey, do the oath. I won't do it, right? That's something. I want the 3 matches. But I see him do it. Yeah. Well, I have no problem with having somebody ask me to do something but they do it themselves. Josh is the same way. I watch him, and I love the kids program of Josh's. I watch them.
Yeah.
Man, they're like sucking to them, especially in the Baton Rouge area.
Oh yeah, monsters. And then what I like about those guys too is, and you experience this, I don't know if I should say it or not, but they encourage you to go train elsewhere.
Yeah.
And like that is frowned upon at other academies that don't want you to train outside of the academy. And you know, like Josh and another one of my coaches had said the same thing. If you only train with me, you're a watered down version of me.
That's right.
And to be a world champion, you know, Eric has a very distinct style. Eric's going to pull guard. Eric's going to use a lot of lasso.
That's right.
And so Josh is going to come at you, and Josh is all top pressure. Right. Josh, and I'm a top guy. Like, I don't want to be on bottom. I don't want to pull guard. My legs with all the injuries and everything else in there, they're just not designed to be a guard puller.
Yeah.
And it's not in my DNA. So like, I learned things from Eric that are good. I learned things from Josh that are good. Yeah. And then like my friend David was a 5'4", 190-pound Puerto Rican judo black belt, jiu-jitsu black belt. And so David was my favorite training partner because what worked for David worked well for me.
No, that's exactly it too, Evie. Like I've studied people with different body styles, like say Clay Gordon-Hire or Randy Melrine, some of the guys, Marcus Stewart. Those guys are great, you know, and
Randy's son wrestles with Ashley.
Yeah, I'm like, their whole family, man, they're great people. His family, I love to death. But I work with them too because I mean, Randy's kind of like that. He's not a prototypical ultra or super. Like he's mobile enough to where you can do both. You know, Marcus is he's a hard person to deal with, man. He's just a strong, big guy.
Yeah.
And then Clay has actually won the world titles as well too. But he's very cerebral, so he's always been able to help out. You know, I've always, like before my tournaments, I usually go, like that's what I do. I go over there to get the bodies. There's some other gyms that I'll go to, and you know, even when I'm traveling around the country or even the world, I'll always go to different jiu-jitsu gyms, and it's always awesome to listen, to see other coaches and the way they do things. Like Josh had something the other day, like a few weeks back, and I listened to him, and he talked about that whenever you're on top or whenever you're passing guard, you need to continue putting pressure as a player. And I'm like that. 4 years of this shit. Almost, you know, April 21st, that was my last AVP tournament in Atlantic City. That's when I started jiu-jitsu. So him saying that, dude, let me tell you how whenever I passed in Sao Paulo, that's exactly what I did to this guy, but I actually was slick about it. I was doing that Sao Paulo pass of all things, that same smash pass.
Yeah.
But whenever I went back around and I was getting him, I didn't try to just force the leg off. I actually paper cutted him. I put a paper cut on him and hit the tap. But I was like, Josh, because a lot of people, they pass, but they want to stay high and they want to stay like mobile, but it's like, no, just put the force in. Like, and Eric and I talked about it afterwards. He said, of course, put the knee in the hamstring. Force the pressure, force everything open. And I was like,
I watched Josh at my size. I mean, Josh is about similar. He's like inch or two taller, but about 180-pound guy, 190 pound. I watched Josh just run through Joe Lake.
Oh yeah,
just
crazy,
right through him like butter on the ground, like and like you said. But it's just that massive, constant pressure, and just steamrolled right through his guard.
Don't let up. And like, so I've been doing that lately. Yeah. And it's been a game changer. Yeah. The same thing with Eric. Like, I mean, look, when I pull guard, and Joe Layton and I've worked with this, and he's another big guy that he's mobile and agile enough to pull that guard. But like lasso, spider, doing things, Della Heave would get me sweeps. But like having Eric teach me his side of it, you know, and at first I was like, man, there's no way. And he's like, shh. just watching. So, but then I'm like, you know what? Why not? Of course, would I rather get the takedown, do the judo, get the stay on top, doing pressure? But why not if something doesn't happen and I gotta go to that? Now I've got 2.5 years of that under my belt. So now there's times when I'm exhausted. I'm gonna pull them. Just don't work on the bottom. You know, look, basically in the way that Eric and I had talked about it, and as best we could, you know, is when you're in guard, it's nothing but an inverted mount. So I've got you in guard. I can do everything else I need to do. There's so many submissions that I can get you from. And once I learned that, I was like,
it's a dangerous place.
You've got to get out of my arm.
It's a little different MMA where they could drop bombs on you.
Yeah.
You know, you don't necessarily want to be in guard the whole time. But for jiu-jitsu, it's a great place if you're a guard.
Yeah. It's actually it's proactive in the sense that you can get offensive and defensive, which is great about it. But like I said, man, with Josh, I love watching his videos. He's awesome.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. You know, but I definitely, Josh, I'm going to get out there probably the next couple, whenever this gets taken care of. I'm going to come down there and see him.
Dude, there's so many good people here locally. Oh, I mean, Dustin Poirier, for God's sake. I mean, like all these guys that came out of here.
Yes.
And I remember like a year before David moved to Colorado, I was kind of like, man, dude, he goes, you're a lot better than you think. And then I see a guy that in class, like I've submitted and I've, beat this guy pretty, we'd have some good matches, but I felt like I was the better, young, athletic guy. And then I watch him go win AGF No-Gi Worlds. And I'm like, I go, damn, I should have entered that tournament. And I'm like, wow, so we got all these guys that have won nationals and like world titles in different weight classes and some of the different divisions and stuff. And I think they're all at our local gyms here, and like, you think you're not as good as, like, because you're getting beat by these guys, and then you watch them go win. Like, you're like, man, Shawn's kicking my ass or whatever. And that's like, well, shit, Shawn's a world champion. He's not just a local guy. He just happens to be here at our gym. Like, there's some real talent.
We do in Louisiana. Louisiana is South.
There's some serious guys.
So there's some guys from Lake Charles that I can tell you about. I mean, like, and I can tell you now, like they've won a blue belt, they've won worlds, and they've won some other major titles and stuff. And love watching these guys compete. Every time I'm with them, like I said, like I don't like the whole gym thing, the whole gym culture. I'm paying for a gym membership, number one, so I'm going to train where I want to train. Now if it causes an issue, that I wouldn't go train somewhere where I've got to fight some guy from their gym next week or two. You know what I mean? But as far as with these guys, like Ashton, these guys from Lake Charles, dude, they're doing great. I see them, they travel all the time. They're in that Masters 3, 4, maybe 4 division.
Right.
But like, you're right, Louisiana has great jiu-jitsu. And it's around, I mean, they've got a bunch of other competitors in the past, like say 10 years back, where Louisiana has done very well.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things, like, I mean, it doesn't get enough credit because the sport itself probably doesn't get it. It's gotten much better and it's getting a lot more.
It's becoming a lot more mainstream.
It is big time. It's catching on the traction. UFC's picking it up. But we've always had. I mean, people in Louisiana are built a little different too. Yeah. I mean, when I meet people from other places, I was like, yeah, these guys are soft as pond water. But it's just but the people that we grew up, the people of Louisiana are just very different.
Yeah.
So you got to keep taking away. But Louisiana, jiu-jitsu, you can go to any gym. I don't want to say any gym, but most gyms in the state of Louisiana, and they're gonna welcome you with open arms.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get good coaching, and you're gonna get good reception as far as like if you're asking questions or what they're showing you. So it's getting much better.
It's funny when you said about talking during rolling and stuff. When I'm with like the higher level, especially like while I'm getting my butt, I'm like, dude, that was awesome. How'd you do that? And I'm like, after this round, show me that. And literally, they will. Like, they're like, all right, yeah, like, come here, let me show you. So I do that. It's funny. I do that same thing because I'm one too. I'm verbal and then I'm visual, but I'm like, for me too, like I have to feel it.
Yes,
like
that's right.
Most people don't want to be the demonstration guy.
Correct.
But I actually, because if not, I have a hard time going and doing the move because I haven't felt the pressure. I haven't felt what was being done, even when I'm watching it. So I actually prefer to have it done on me by whoever's the best at it, because then I can, and I want to drill it with them a few times, even if it's a painful position to be in. I'm like, show me that again. But it really helps for me to digest it and to apply it when I do it that way.
That's the way to do it. It's just repetition. So after all that stuff, whiteboard and all, keeping your diet, a healthy diet, mentally. I mean, look, it's not, and honestly, it's not. I know it's kind of hard to say this because you got coaches that do this 7 days a week, but even for me as the competitor, like when I'm training to go to a big event, it's build up. But even when I come home, whether I had an injury or not, I take a few days off, if not a week off, and I kind of decompress because, man, especially in Brazil, it's so much. It's just, it's amazing to see it and feel it, and you've got everybody has to experience it once. Whether you enter the event or not. And I told the guys from like Charleston and a few guys from New Orleans, I said, y'all need to do this. I said, we need to have a group. I said, you need to get in there. Who cares if you win or lose?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not what it's about. You want the experience, but like, it's just, all that's part of it too. It's just building up to that and all that stuff. But regardless of all that stuff, all the stuff that leads up to that, like I said off the whiteboard, it's just staying consistent.
Yeah.
Consistency, maintaining consistency is
Right.
the key, and that's not just in the jiu-jitsu. That's in your daily life, your marital status, your kid with your kids, and then business. Those three things I look at in that sense. But
That's awesome.
was maintaining that. So.
Yeah, no, like you nailed it. I think you kind of a good closing message there, because I know when I'm looking at hiring people, if they competed at a high level in sports, collegiate, at least a state champion in high school or something, they're disciplined, they're consistent, and they're used to that kind of work ethic.
Yeah.
So, and you said about in your marriage, I think that's one that a lot of people lose sight of. In, like, I remember doing a mortgage for this older gentleman, and we would talk every week while his loan was getting up to closing, and every Friday, hey, what you doing this weekend? I said, well, my wife and I are going to do this, and we're going to go to our, this is when we had our little apartment in New Orleans. We're going down to New Orleans for the weekend. The kids are going to stay with friends, so we're having a date night weekend and all. And he goes, you date your wife. He said, always date your wife. I've been married 50 years, and I still date my wife. And just the phrasing of it was a different phrasing and how he said it. And I go, yeah, I guess you're right. But we've never broken away from that either, and a lot of people get away from those, just the consistency, the date nights, movie nights, watching TV, snuggling, cuddling, like all the little things you did when you're trying to win her over.
That's right. Yeah, you're trying to impress her.
And then you stop doing those things.
But it can get away from you real quick, especially in businesses. I mean, you guys
kids,
Angelique being in the engineering field as well, but she's also, a partner in Hyperion, with the construction group and everything like that. So we got to be around each other. We do work from the house.
Yeah.
She goes to her office as well, but yeah, it can get away, like, especially with kids, sports. Like, I mean, Soren now, he's the only one, but he does 3 or 4 different sports.
Yep.
We're bringing here, and the good thing is we're double teaming it. Like, when she went out of town for a week, man, I did it solo.
It's a lot.
So, like, whenever I leave town, I go to Brazil. She's taking care of it. When I come back, I'm always appreciative. I mean, right when I get back, let's go have dinner. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. And just make sure that she's appreciated. I think that's a big thing too.
Yeah.
Key, but just like I said, it's the marriage is a big part of it, because she's actually your number one fan. She's your biggest cheerleader. And without that, man, I mean, look, she called me. She was like, it was very sentimental for me, because she was like, don't get it.
Yeah.
When she told me that, I was like,
right.
I can do whatever you want me to do, but I just that's always going to be. I fought for that for 4 years.
Yeah.
And those 2 medals right there, I can't wait to get them. I put all my major medals.
Like a shadow box.
Yeah, I do them in my office. It was awesome. I got all my different majors. I got them all up in there. They're boxed in. But that one's probably going to be I'm going to hold that one dear. Hold that nearest to all up.
That's awesome.
That was an accomplishment that, number one, nobody else, from what I understand, in the state of Louisiana has done, which is a big deal. But number 2, it's just, like I said, being an American, and the other Americans that have done it, that's a cool thing too. I've had people reach out to me from around the U.S. and like, hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
I did it back in 1997. I was like, what?
It's like a little fraternity.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, and they were like, we like, great job.
Yeah. You're in a select group.
Yeah. So I'm happy about that. But Grand Prix come Worlds, I'll be in that top 1 or 2. It depends on if the guys comes up. I mean, if not, I'll be sitting pretty for Worlds in Vegas.
Heck yeah. We'll do whatever we can to keep you healthy. And
I love it. Yeah. Thank you guys so much, man. It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Not even just for the training regimen, but even like for the healing part. The peptides and the regimen you guys have me on. Couldn't ask for anything better. So.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you. Again, Rome-Ledig, Brazil world champion, IBJJF. So thanks for coming on, my friend.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it.